Try HelloFresh UK to get 60% off your first box, 25% off for 2 months, and to of course help support this channel. Link is down in the description. Thank you for your support. Well, the January transfer window is edging towards a close, and so far we've been able to hold on to all of our stars. One backup player sold, one young player for the future bought in, but there might be a few little loan additions to just help us compete in this promotion race. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 29 of Saving Southend with me, Daniel. We are back today as the top of the table is fairly tight, but we've still got a little bit of an advantage. We've got a big lead to 7th place who we face today, and it is Rob Edwards at Cardiff City, who has started their revival after a shocking start in League One. The current Luton manager in real life will be a tough test for us to come up against. He managed to keep Luton in the Premier League for multiple seasons here, and then for some reason after getting sacked dropped straight down to League One. So we'll keep an eye on his progress and see how his team does against us today. But then the big part of the day is transfer deadline day, and that is going to be huge for us because we're trying to use our link with our parent club to maybe bring in 1 or 2 squad players. And while we have been looking for key targets during the window, it doesn't look like we're going to get anything big done at the moment. So if you're looking forward to seeing what deadline day brings and whether we get any big offers for some of our stars, none of whom are wanted at the moment, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. You can see Joe Williams is suspended again. He's someone who's starting to annoy me. But for now, we've got to have a look at the transfer window so far and what's been happening on the schedule. Because still, we've not been perfect. We're averaging less than 2 points a game. And at the moment, despite that, we're pretty comfortable in 2nd place, which I think says a lot about the league this season. But let's go and have a look at the transfer centre and see what's been happening, because you can see we're looking at a couple of potential fullbacks from Southampton just to fill the squad for the short term. We've lost out on one of our youth academy stars to Kilmarnock. Tom Winter-Sinclair rejected a new deal with us and he will move on. Not got the biggest potential in the world, but would have been ideal to keep. And the same for the goalkeeper, but again, too many deficits in his game to ever make it for us. So, no big losses, but a few slight problems. Nothing compares, though, to the work on a transfer centre, because in addition to Diogo Fernandez joining on loan at the start of this month, Sean Rose has now come in as well. We'd actually pre-agreed a deal for him in the summer, which I talked about in the last episode. But then it said we could buy him now for free. So, given the fact that Joe Williams keeps getting suspended, King's not been great, and we've had injuries to Smith at times, I just thought, why not? Beef's out the squad, he's not playing there, so under 18 football at either level is no different, and we can get him in mentoring groups and working already. So the young Scottish Youth International has come into the club, 275 quid a week on a 2.5-year deal, and he's already 2-star ability with huge potential. So if we can get in a position where we've either wrapped up a playoff place, a top 2 place, or missed out entirely before the end of the year, I would like to get him some football if possible, because he looks like he's going to be a gem, and he might be another one of those like a Morehouse, like Kingdon, who we sold for big money, who could be big for the future of this club, or financially prudent. So that is the other man who's come in. The man that's gone out, we knew plenty of already. We saw the offer accepted from Barnsley for Saxon Airley, 200 grand up front, add-ons and a big sell-on clause as well. He's going to feature for them, has played 1 game from the start already, and we'll keep an eye on his progress for the rest of the season. So, money being made at the club, and for a backup player who contributed a little bit, to sell him on for a big profit is really important for us. It's keeping the finances on an even keel. The transfer budget is huge, but we're not going to spend that. We're moving into a new stadium next year. We're trying to increase all the facilities. And at the moment, these little sales are helping out with that. What surprises me is that after the double promotion and the fact that we're now doing very well in League One, there's not really any interest in our key players. Now, a lot of the defensive ones have signed new deals, so I'm not so worried about them. But for Presley and Dans, who have rejected them, I find it astonishing that you've got 2 strikers scoring 1 in 2. Presley was also the top scorer in League 2 last year, and no interest in any of them. If this was the real footballing world, you would see plenty of championship clubs taking a punt, including my club Luton Town, who have been famous for doing that over the years. So I think that's maybe the one area I'm finding a lack of realism in relation to form. But for now, we are going to have a look at the schedule and what's been going on because we've only played 3 games off camera and it's been a complete mixed bag. You were with me for that big 1-0 win against Sheffield Wednesday. Jack Morehouse delivering a crucial goal at the end as we ran out of strikers. Against MK Dons, oh, it was Joe Williams again. It was his worst performance by a way. I know he got sent off in the second minute earlier in the season, but after Jayden Danns gave us the lead here, he scored an own goal, then got sent off on a stroke of half-time. Hilton picked up an injury, Ferry played poorly, it just all fell apart. And in the end, we couldn't get back in the game, and Daniel Rose even made a mistake for the winner. The one positive to come out of this month, though, is that Luke Matheson has been the best form player at the club, despite the fact we wanted to replace him, and he's rated so much weaker than everyone else. But I just find it weird that he didn't reach his potential, and attribute-wise just isn't improving. So that's a little bit of a frustration, but overall, as long as he's performing well, I don't care. We beat Carlisle by 4-1, and again, he was one of the best outfield players. Danns and Smith got one apiece before a Trevor Clark brace off the bench. And then against Wrexham, a 2-2 draw. Another frustrating one from 2-0 up. We had Presley and Kwanzaa put us ahead comfortably, but then we managed to throw it away. Again, we're just starting to struggle with fatigue a bit in those 3-game weeks, and this is the end of another one. We've then got another 2 games in the next week, most of them on the road as well. I feel the fixture list has been a bit unkind to us, but I'm sure a lot of you will just say I'm making excuses. But again, we've got 4 points out of 9 since you were last here, and we've moved yet further clear in the top 2 race. So it does show how weak the rest of the league is, or how competitive and closely matched it is, particularly given the points totals. We are 12 points clear of 7th. Okay, MK Dons have got a couple in hand. Rotherham the same in the playoffs, but at the moment it's looking pretty good for us still. And I'd be upset from this point if we didn't make the top 6. So let's get through to the game against Rob Edwards Cardiff and find out how we get on that front, because this game is going to be pretty decisive. Cardiff started woefully. When did Edwards come in? He joined on the 31st of October. And if you have a look since then, yes, a slightly slow start, but throughout December and now January, with the odd defeat in there, they've still been one of the form teams in the division. They've improved massively at the back. You look at their start, they were dismal. I mean, their August was pathetic. So definitely made an impact at the club. They've signed a couple of players this month already. Loan players from City, good players in from Preston as well. There's quality, there's experience, there's a very good football team, and we've got to try and put it right. They're playing this front three with a narrow formation, so we are going to have to go to our away tactic. Not something we've done regularly in recent weeks, and we've had a few problems with both form and fatigue in recent matches, so we're going to have to adjust the squad a bit. Well, I think you would describe this lineup as down to the bare bones. It's a Saturday afternoon. We've got an unfit Baba Fernandez getting a rare start. And if you have a look further down the side, we are all over the shop in truth. Look at the players missing out. You've got Smith and Parks who aren't fit enough for the squad. Kwanzaa is on the bench despite not really being fit enough. And we've also got the likes of Matheson, Presley and Hilton. In other situations would not be close, which is why we are looking at 1 or 2 loan players just to bolster this squad. It does mean that Sean Rose will get his first outing on the bench. He may make his debut today. And we've also got Fernandez as the only other fit player here. He made his first start last time out, but he's yet to contribute to a goal directly. So let's see how we get on with this 11 out. It is the ever-dependable Daniel Rose between the sticks with Fernandez, Parker and Baggett at the back 3. Tomlinson covering at right wing back today with Clark over on the left. Morehouse and King the midfield 2. Ferry and Cornick the wide men. And then Jayden Danns through the middle up front with a whole host of unfit players on the bench. We have got to decide which one we're playing where out of these positions here. I should probably play them in their natural one, shouldn't I? So Ferry back in the deep line role and then Clark further forward. Let's go and get into it. Cardiff v Southend, and Rob Edwards has got the informed team in the division. John Rose gets number 22, and we're into our big game before transfer deadline day. I'm hoping we'll have a deeper squad to choose from by the time we get to the Port Vale match. Jack Morehouse not happy with the role he's playing, probably the role he spent most of the last 2 years in. And if we have a look at their team, that's the luxury I'm talking about. They can make 7 changes and bring in the likes of Gutas, Rolls, Colwill, Diblin. Players we haven't got the quality of. Lindsay, who'd have just signed for 300 grand. And the players dropping out aren't bad either. They've got a good bench. They've got quality everywhere. How is this going to work out? Well, we've managed to get most of the players on board and motivated in the dressing room, and Cardiff haven't got the biggest crowd in despite their good recent results. But they are immediately on the front foot with a free kick early doors, not even a minute played. And they've got 7 players in the box as it's up in there. Fernandez away, only as far as McGuinness. He's got to switch to Rules, who's gone in alone. No one's followed him. And he's hit the post. We've got away with one there. But where on earth was our defence? It's into Waters again and Cardiff still going. But Clark has nicked the ball. We get away with one. And it stays 0-0 with 5 gone. Bar when we've played at home to the very bottom teams recently, we have not looked convincing for a good couple of months now. This is becoming a very tricky spell for us, and unlike the previous seasons where we've sort of run away with that leading pack, here we are struggling to hold on a bit more, as was to be expected by the way. As Lindsay plays out from the back again to Vale, Rules gets in, it's good work from Morehouse, and Tomlinson on that unnatural side today. Big ball over the top though, and Dans is in. Keeper's missed it. Oh, wow. Terrible goalkeeping by the Cardiff number 1. Jayden Dans takes advantage in his 20th goal of the year. Quite possibly the easiest one he's had all day. What an absolute gift. It is Vale on the left though from the kickoff. And Cardiff have still looked the better side. There's no denying that. We're very happy for the 1-0 lead, but these are the slender margins. We got away with it by a post whip when we made a mistake. And Virginia did not get away with it at all. As Waters in down the right, he may have his blushes spared immediately. Almost does, just over the bar. I'm not sure if Rose had it covered, but at the moment, we are going top of the league. Birmingham still 0-0. And this is turning into a very good half for us. Cardiff still haven't had a shot on target, despite the 2 very close calls. And despite not offering a huge amount, our gift has given us the win. As it stands anyway, as Cornick throws into Dans and now Morehouse. Good footwork from him. Morehouse shoots over. Not really got a left foot, bless him, has he? He doesn't need to here. He's creative. He's doing really well for us. I'm surprised again there's no interest in someone like him. Considering that Kingdon and Nallo got it almost immediately. He's sort of just gone under the radar for a couple of years. We're going to ask the lads to prove a point as Baba Fernandez looks a little nervous. They're bringing on the likes of Callum O'Dowda, which is plenty of quality on the bench. And we've got plenty of quality too, but the difference is none of ours is fit. There's a long ball forward which King heads away. He's been a bit disappointing this season as a lone midfielder, but if he contributes to enough wins, I won't be worried about the individual display. Now it's all about discipline rather than that spark. Through ball is intercepted by Fernandez, who reads that really well. Cornick gives it straight back to them though. We just can't keep the ball well enough here. There's my one worry in this tactic, that we don't keep the ball enough. But we do nick it high this time with Trevor Clark. Ferry's overlapping, but Clark goes alone. Challenge, but it falls for Ferry. And now Morehouse. We saw a big goal from him in the last episode. And what about this one? Cracking individual run again. It's a good block by the defender. The keeper was a little bit erratic with his positioning again there. But it's out for a corner kick, which Ferry will take. Fernandez up at the back post is headed away. And it stays 1-0 to Southend. 10 minutes gone in the second half. We have had the better expected goals. But you can't deny that Cardiff have had a couple of good opportunities. Albeit, they're starting to struggle with injuries now. And we're starting to struggle with fatigue. You can see Morehouse in the middle is done. My options are to bring on Hilton or Rose. Rose is a player who we know what we're going to get. And is another playmaker. Whereas King can't really play box to box either. Does leave us a bit short in that specific role. Or I can bring Hilton on as a box to box and hope. And I think that's what we're going to do for now. I'm also going to take off Trevor Clark on the left and bring on Diogo Fernandez. Literally the only one who can do it. Unless I put Matheson as a wing back, which I'm not prepared to do. So we're just going to put him as a supporting winger. Nothing fancy for now. We've got 20 minutes to go. We're 1-0 up. And at the moment, these lads are putting in a fine shift. You can see we're struggling with fatigue elsewhere as well. We're going to bring on this time Aaron Presley for Jayden Dans. Just get a target man on for the last few. Cornick will be replaced now. Who by? I mean, seriously. Tell you what we're going to do. Cornick will go over to the left. Fernandez will go over to the right. Ferry will go forward. Tomlinson will switch to the left. And Matheson will come on right wing back. It leaves us with one more sub with just over 10 to go. And it will probably be King off for Rose just to get him a debut. But I'd like it, if possible, to be a time-wasting sub right at the end. Birmingham are now level again, but not pushing on too far. There are 6 minutes of stoppage time, which we are halfway through. So I'm going to make the move now. King will be replaced by Rose, making his debut. Nothing fancy for the last few minutes. Fernandez, support duty. Wingbacks, defend duty. Nothing special from you, please. Hilton, can we move you to a defensive duty? Deep line playmaker on support will do. We're not going to overlap down the wings. We're going to time waste. We're going to slow the pace down. And we're going to try and see this out. Because I think for the third episode in 4, we're going for a proper Champions performance and a 1-0 win. We won 1-0 against Sheffield Wednesday. We had a big 1-0 away win a couple of episodes ago. And we've now done it against Rob Edwards' Cardiff, the form team in the division since he took charge. And what a victory it is with a depleted squad and an absolute gift from the Cardiff keeper. 1-0, top of the league, a brilliant performance. I feel the treble could be on. We did it with Woking in our Twitch save last year. I did not expect to do it again here. Let's go and get through the deadline day and see if we can help out this squad, because now it is a little bit brittle. Well, deadline day has arrived, and it's another scream in the face of accuracy from these deadline day rumours. Edo Kiembe is a player who was a free agent earlier in the year. We looked at, he wanted 25 grand a week. We said no thanks. Millwall managed to get him in our division for 18 grand a week, which shows you what we're up against, when our top paid player is Aaron Presley on I think 3.6. So Edo Kiembe will not be coming in, and we haven't got 13 million to spend. Not that any League One player is worth that. If we have a look a bit further down though, we are being linked with Drew O'Day, who is a player who we tried to sign in the summer again. I think you can see how good and important he would have been. And here's the reason, basically, that we've ended up with loan players again at the back, because we missed out on him. We offered him 3 grand a week. Birmingham offered him 19. I think you can see why he chose them, can't you? Then we move to look at Bubba Fernandez, who wants to go out on loan. There is interest in him apparently from Tranmere, not that we can see it there. If he goes out, we probably have to bring yet another defender in. And that's why I may be looking at Magoma from Southampton, because he can play centre-half as well as left full-back. If we have a look at our squad though, still none of the stars wanted at the minute, but we know there's always a surprise on deadline day. We're going to have big decisions to make, as we've got 3 loan players potentially coming in from Southampton, and there's also a bit of news on players going out, many of whom are currently out on loan. If we get desperate, we might have to change approach and recall one of the players that's out elsewhere. But for now, let's take part in the final 15 hours and see what pops up on transfer deadline day. Well, it's offers galore at the start of the day, loads of messages about other stuff too, but the big news is that Vasco Oliveira has made an offer. Who for and in what position? Because he seems to be going for right wingers at the moment, but we've got Sonny Hilton, we've got Harry Cornick, Fernandez can now play out there. Doesn't really make sense. This one though is a young centre-half who could provide cover. And this is what I mean about making a decision now. He's not as good as any of the players we've got out on loan in League 2 and the National League. So rather than paying a nominal fee to get someone who's not going to contribute to our future, it may be better just to bring someone back and give them a few games. But for now, we're not going to worry about that. The mentoring's going well. Everything else is going pretty nicely too. Did we get any players in the Player of the Month? Yes, Jaden Dan's second in a young player. We also must have got in the top 3 for Manager of the Month. We did in second place, ahead of Matt Taylor, who's got a better win rate. He'll be a bit upset by that. And then we'll get through the staff meeting. We'll put players recommended on the loan list. Or will we? Because Leighton Stewart is not someone I really want to let go. Hasn't played a lot this year, but 6 goals from 2 starts and 10 sub appearances is pretty remarkable. And when we consider that Fernandez might have to play out wide a bit, I'm not sure letting him go is a sensible decision. So we're going to ignore that one with 14 hours remaining. And the only big decision today, really, is which of the Southampton lads we choose to bring in. Well, the first deal of deadline day could be the biggest one, because our director of football, in addition to the 2 defensive loan offers I made, has gone in for a familiar name from Southampton, because Stuart McKinstry is a player that's popped up on his channel before. He's a former Motherwell and Leeds player. He's got real quality, and he's not in the squad at Southampton now. We have got the chance to bring him on loan. It's only till the end of the season with no further commitment, but he will just about become our highest paid player. I feel it might be worth it to try and get us over the line. Natural off the right and left, can play in the midfield 4 or in the front 3. and he's got real natural ability in both positions. So I feel he's a player we should take a gamble on, and I do feel it's worth it. And that then does mean that we can probably loan Leighton Stewart out because we will then be able to play Fernandez primarily as a striker. So we're going to offer him out and see what happens there. Might be able to get back half of the wage, but if that's an upgrade in that position for the rest of this year, I'm pretty happy with that for a start of deadline day. Let's go and get through the rest of the day, see if anyone else comes in. And of course, in a minute, we'll come back to meet our new man, McKinstry. Right then, Stuart McKinstry is in, and the coaches agree with the scouting team. This boy is an absolute gem. He's better on the left than any player we've got, and he's better on the right than any player we've got. He is going to be a key feature for the rest of this season, and even if we don't do anything else today, that's that little shot in the arm our squad needed, that little bit of bolstering. I'm going to set him as a right midfielder, a winger on attack, and just see if we can improve him. We've got plenty of spaces to register him in the squad. We've got a couple of others if we need to get loan players in. But for now, I think it's just going to be Southampton loan players, much the way we use them in League 2. Few players being recommended to us, but nothing else I think worth doing. Well, 7 hours remaining now, and rather surprisingly, still no offers for any of our stars, which I'm not going to be complaining about, but is a little bit unrealistic, I think. What we have got, though, is loan offers for Leighton Stewart as requested, covering all of the wages, both Cambridge and Yeovil in League 2, and based on what he's done for us, there is no doubt he'll score goals and improve at that level. We managed to get the board right on side the supporters. I just can't get it above a C+ for some reason. But let's get through the final 7 hours. We've got decisions to make on the 2 defenders on loan. Otherwise, I'm very happy with this. Well, just an hour later, and Leighton Stewart has agreed to go to Cambridge rather than Yeovil. They're 19th in League 2, Yeovil just below, but I guess geographically, maybe Cambridge makes a bit more sense. So he's going to go there for the rest of the season. I think he's going to do pretty well. And if we stay down, he will come back a player ready to compete. Let's go and get through the final few hours though, and see if we can deliver any more gems. Well, 1 hour to go and it's decision time. As you can see, we're still tying down some of our younger players who are out on loan, trying to make sure we've got the squad for the future, and certainly that we can make the money out of them that we need to, as we've seen Nallo has achieved for us before. But we've got to make the decision on these 2 loan players before the window shuts. Jayden Magoma is a bit easier, because we know exactly how good he is, we know exactly where he plays, but the problem, we don't need that position as much as we need the right-hand side covered. If he was a right back, he would be in like a shot, it would be easy. But given the quality, given the mentality, and given the physicality too, he's versatile, he covers 3 of the back 5 positions. I feel we've got to bring him in. And what is the harm? We're not paying a wage, we're not paying a fee. It's a parent club doing us a favour. So Magoma comes in, Josh Craven will be the same. He is a bit more of a blind signing, and by that, I mean we know nothing about him. He's capped at under 19 level for England, and he's played once in the Premier League, so how bad can he really be? But he's not featured at all this year. He's not been out on loan, and we know nothing about his attributes. So let's hope he's at first team level. Maybe we get a bit of a surprise. The final actions of deadline day, 2 loanees from Southampton. Well, our parent club have delivered some quality as Jayden Magoma joins in. He has played for Millwall before. He's featured at St Johnstone and Hull. Yeah, he's got good experience at this level. So a good solid addition to the squad. We'll get Jayden Dans to welcome him. Will Ferry is unhappy about it. He's a bit down about his arrival. He's not going to play in his position at all. I don't really get what that's about. Don't worry, I'm not signing him to play your position. You keep going on the left wing and do well, and we'll have no worries whatsoever. Let's go and have a look at Craven though. This is the big one. Not quite so good. Huge potential. And a decent amount of ability. I mean, he's probably the best rated right back at the club. But what are his attributes like? Oh, I tell you what. The core ones aren't bad. His positioning's average. His composure's poor. His marking's not great. But the tackling, the pace, the stamina, the work rate, the crossing, the anticipation and decision making, all pretty good. Likes to get forward. Oh, that's a bonus. I didn't realise that. He can play right wing back as well. So do you know what? That's turned into a very clever deadline day. 3 players from our parent club, only 1 we're paying a wage towards. And if you'd said at the start of the day, you can bring in these 3 for £4 a week to the rest of the season, you'd probably say no brainer, wouldn't you? So Jayden Dans, you do the welcoming again. We're going to get him training as a right wing back to make sure he's competent there as well. And hopefully for the rest of this season, it just bolsters the squad in the areas we were weak. If we then do need to loan out certain players, so say, who's the right back who's been injured? Ingram. If he wants to go out on loan to a National League club, we can do it. But overall, we've got the squad we want, and I am very happy that we can compete the rest of this year. It's the same issue as last season, where we've got 7 loan players in the squad, but there's 1 or 2 who are always going to be out. You're not going to have all 4 of those defenders featuring at once. You're not going to have McKinstry and Fernandez starting. So overall, we're really strong. We've done really well. And I've got to be fair, the parent club, they've delivered for us again. Let's go and get through the final hour. We'll be back in a minute to confirm the news from today. Well, the transfer deadline has passed and we've had a couple of like-for-like replacements and a couple of big improvements to bolster the squad. So first of all, Saxon Airley sold for 200 grand, but Jayden Magoma has since replaced him. Leighton Stewart has gone out on loan with Diogo Fernandez and Stuart McKinstry coming in on loan. And then the extra bonus is the new right back who we got from Southampton. We signed him blind, but he's not a bad player and will feature before the end of the year. If we round up the window for the whole division, Swansea have spent £3 million. They're buying their way out of trouble. Jamal Lascelles going to Wrexham, Millwall bringing in 6 players, and Birmingham offloading 9 from the books. This is a division where we're not competing financially, but our recruitment from the previous years is really standing us in good stead. Not to mention the fact that the points totals are very low. We're on exactly 2 points a game, and at the moment we're top of the league. Surely it's going to go wrong at some point, and surely someone's going to push back. I don't know. We'll wait and find out the answer to that as we go along, but I'm aware that we've shown lots of recent episodes in quick succession, so now we're going to try and get ahead a few games. We're going to go to about the halfway point, and there's 2 big away games in the middle here. We've got Stockport who are in 3rd, Bolton who are in 12th, Millwall are in 4th as well. So 2 of those 3 games will be the next episode. We might have our youth intake by then as well. And then towards the end of the year, we've got Birmingham again. We've got a couple of tough games at the end too. So 2 more episodes to see out the season. Who knows where we're going to go next? We could end up running to a 3rd promotion. We could equally end up dropping off because our form, bar the first couple of months, has been very inconsistent. Even if you look at our league form, 5 of our 6 defeats have come since the start of November. It's not necessarily been plain sailing. I'll be interested to see how we go, but let me know in the comments what you think of our signings, that gritty 1-0 win at Cardiff, and of course the players we've let go. If you did enjoy this one, please do put a thumbs up on it. Let me know what position you think we're going to finish. If you want to stay up to date with the rest of the season, and make sure you don't miss a thing, and subscribe and turn that notification bell on. It's been a very big week in the head coach. If you've missed it, where on earth have you been? You can find that playlist in the eye above with the Twitch channel, the football podcast, and so much more as well. Thank you to HelloFresh for the continued support. You can find a link for that down in the description below if you're in the UK. But after a deadline day special with our director of football in the head coach tomorrow, I'll see you back here in a couple of days' time. We might have a 3rd promotion push in a row.